Happy Thursday and welcome to GMNC. My name is Sixolile Mboza and I'll be your anchor this morning. Before we start, I just want to say thank you to our morning coffee dose is compliments of Performance Coffee, an authorized dealer for Juro coffee machines and Salt Rock Coffee. Just want to say thank you very much. And on the great lineup that we have, we start off with our daily inspiration with Claudia Greenwood. And also we have Samantha Southwood, who is a local dancer with a bright future ahead. I can't wait to talk to her. And also in studio, we have Barry Bowditch, who is a photographer here in Ballito, very famous than me. And we're celebrating International Photography Day. So he's going to be telling us more about what he does. And as per Thursday, we have Warren Loader, of which he has a very, very awesome story that he wants to share with us. And the theme today is Search for Champions Mission. And we also have Cobus Oelofse, who is the CEO of Ilembe Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Tourism, who will be discussing with us the Business Confidence Index for 2020, for the first half actually of 2021. And then later on, we're going to be having our weather and surf report with Heili and Deon. And we close off with a music video from ZAAD. But without further ado, Claudia, did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
100%. How are you this morning?
Fine, and you, Sai?
Fantastic. So inspired, girl.
Okay. How about some more happiness in your life?
Yeah, why not? I've been dancing the whole time.
I see that. Good vibe.
Yeah, good vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about bringing more happiness into our lives. I think we can all do with that.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't matter how happy you think you are. And, you know, some people say, well, happy. Oh, what's happy? You know? Call it what you like, contentment, energy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We want more positivity in our lives.
Of course.
And, you know, we're really wired, unfortunately, to focus on more negative things in our lives. And this goes back many generations ago when, you know, for survival purposes, we had to focus on danger, things that are going wrong.
Yeah.
Because we had to be alert to say, you know what's going wrong, what's bad. You know, if there's this big tiger standing there and, you know what, we need to be cautious.
Yeah.
So all of that mindset was, we were programmed to actually focus on negative things for survival reasons.
Sure.
The thing is, we've evolved as human beings and society has evolved. We're not facing tigers generally, although some of our challenges feel like tigers.
Yeah, true. I was about to say that.
Absolutely. So the whole purpose of my discussion today is let's try and bring more happiness into our lives. But how do we do that if we're wired to focus on negativity? You know, when negative things happen, we tend to remember them, right?
Yeah.
We remember a few weeks back a whole lot of drama and, you know.
Wearing a bad outfit, yes.
Exactly. You know, you'll remember that.
Yeah.
But do you remember that good outfit you wore?
Oh, no.
Or something good that happened on that day when, you know, we don't remember that.
Yeah.
Bad news travels faster than good news, doesn't it? Okay, so how do we change that? And this is where we've got to practice certain things to focus on positivity.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we do that? It's just so easy to say, focus on what's positive. Okay, well, like I'm having a tough time, so what do I do? So what I'd like to introduce you and the viewers to is a jar of awesomeness.
Ooh.
Okay, now, this is something that is so easily implementable and it can work on a personal level, families, in a work environment, if you're working towards a goal, whatever it is. And how this works is every day we should focus and reflect back and ask ourselves what was really awesome that day. Now, awesome, sometimes we think, well, awesome must be like out there. It doesn't have to be extravagant stuff. It can be just simple things. So yes, I had a fabulous holiday. Well, that was awesome. Or I bought myself something like really, you know, out there that I've been saving towards. That was awesome. It's big stuff. It doesn't have to be big. It can be small things like, you know what, somebody paid me a compliment today. Hey, that was awesome. Or I handed in or I attended to that task that I normally want to do. Well, that was pretty awesome. I've done it. I feel good about it. Maybe it's a good deed somebody did, or hey, you know what, I stuck to my diet plan today. That's pretty awesome because normally I wouldn't. Or that exercise, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And then at the end of the day, you know what? Write on the little piece of paper what was awesome and put it in your awesome jar.
Wow.
When you're having an off day or an off moment, open your awesome jar, take out a couple of those and just read them. And suddenly it starts shifting your whole perspective on, you know what, things aren't all bad. That's a reminder of things that were good.
Yeah.
And when one reflects like that, and the more often you do it, remember, it's a bit like gymnastics.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, you're training for something. You've got to be consistent and do things on a daily basis to start changing that programming that from a more negative mindset to a more positive mindset. And in so doing, when we take that out, suddenly we feel like, you know what, actually I have achieved a lot. I have done good things. There are good things in my life. And reflect on it. So it's not just about putting the awesome note in there, but it's about actually taking it out, reviewing it, and saying like, look how amazing this is. You know,
I like that because it's so easy and practical, you know, it's doable. You know, all these other challenges, you know, you're like, I still have to, you know, this is simple, you know, it's straightforward because it's right there. It's a jar, it's a piece of paper, it's a pen. Why not?
That's it. And you can make it fun. You can bring it into a family environment. Kids, what was awesome today? You know what, today I managed to do a somersault or I tied my shoelaces. Well, let's put it in there, okay? And review it. It can be in a week's time, a month's time, 6 months' time, or at the end of the year. Do a family thing, or at the office, or in a work environment. Guys, what did we achieve today as a team? You know, put it in there. And reflect on it, and have fun, and put some fun stuff in there. Decorate your jar, make it, do whatever you like.
Yeah, I think I'll add a couple of candy in there, you know, just to make it more attractive. Be like, I'm going for that jar because I know there are sweets in there.
Absolutely. So yeah, the encouragement is, you know what, let's do the things in our lives. Let's shift stuff, little habits on a daily basis that shift us to a more positive vibe, and let's create that atmosphere within us.
Well, I love that. Well, thank you very much, Claudia, for coming through. That is definitely something I'm going to try, folks. I think if you're watching, it's easy. Piece of paper, pen, come on, we can do it. And a jar is going to be easy. So after the break, we're going to be speaking to Samantha Southwood. I'm so excited because she doesn't know I know her. So it's going to be an interesting vibe. More after this.
Freshly ground, not capsuled. Coffee pleasure from Europe.
Welcome back to GMNC, and as promised, we have Samantha Southwood, our local dancer with a bright future ahead. Hello, Samantha. Samantha.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
Fantastic. As I said, you don't know where I know you from. I actually was at the Red Bull event that happened at the Greyville, and I won't lie to you, you blew my mind. You are so talented, and I wondered, where is this girl from? But for those who don't know you, like how I've seen you, just introduce yourself. Tell us where you go to school and stuff like that.
My name is Samantha Southwood. I'm in grade 10 at Ashton. And yeah.
And then I hear that you also do dance at school as well.
Yes, I take dance as a subject.
Oh
school.
yes, I heard. How's that?
It's pretty cool. Yeah. There's lots of theory to it. There's lots of work. But
is it?
Yeah.
I would imagine that, you know, the only thing that you need to do is to get there and just dance, and then you'll be out, in and out, you know, and then you get a pass. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
So how did you get into dancing?
I think I was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And one of my best friends from school started doing hip-hop classes. And then I got jealous. So I started, and then I fell in love with it.
Ever since?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I see here you even went to the Commonwealth Games.
Yes.
How was that? How was that experience?
It was incredible. There was different countries there, and there was Easy Twins, famous dancers. They were on World of Dance, and I got to meet them and do a workshop with them, and it was just a wonderful experience.
100%. So you actually, like when you're not dancing at school, you have classes that you take?
Yes.
Yes, yes. You do street dance and hip hop with Verbz?
Yes, I do.
Tell us more about that.
I started with Verbz, I think like 4 years ago now.
Yeah?
And before that, I was at Sugar Dance Studios.
Yeah.
I dance with Verbz on Thursdays, Fridays, and I used to do classes with him on Saturdays, but not anymore.
Yes, so let's talk about the Red Bull Dance Your Style competition. Girl, let me tell you something. I was sitting there being bored. I was like, oh, I'm going to fall asleep because I was showcasing for some other place that I work at. And I see you go into stage, and then you rocked it. And I was like, oh! I was so excited. How did it feel? Was your heart pounding?
I was extremely nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of the youngest dancers there. And
I saw.
Yeah, I was competing with amazing talent.
Yeah, you were.
And I was even against Verbz, my coach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was very scary, but it was amazing. Yeah.
And like you, I hear you came 4th.
Yeah, I made the semi-finals.
Okay, so how does it go? So you made the semi-finals, and then when is the actual competition happening? And can you tell us more about that?
I think it's in October sometime.
Cool, yeah.
So there was many different like Red Bull competitions throughout South Africa.
Oh, okay.
So they take a winner from each province, and then I think they do like interprovincials. And then in December, the world is coming to South Africa, to Joburg, to dance.
And you'll be there?
Hopefully I'll be watching. I didn't qualify, but
I think you're going to be there. So you know what, I was actually telling Mandy off air that I'm going to do a little bit of a surprise for you. Okay, you know what you're going to do? Because I know you're very good at dancing. I want you, as you're sitting, I want you to use your upper body and bust and move a little bit so people can actually see what you can do, you know. When I dance sitting down, I'll be like, yeah, you know, but I'm sure you can do something cooler, you know, like kind of move your arms like this and stuff like that. Can you just bust a move for me? You don't even have to get up while you're sitting. There we go, you see? You know what, let's just dab and be good with it. So what are your future plans with regards to dance and stuff, yeah?
I'm hoping to travel overseas.
Ooh, yeah,
to go to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Dance there. There's a studio there called Millennium Dance Complex, and it hosts many famous dancers from around the world. And I want to go do classes there and hopefully teach one day.
Okay, man, that's fantastic. And I saw your mom with you. So how has the support been for you? Because I saw your mom, like, oh my, the mom is there. You know? So how's the support been with your mom, with your friends? Has it been great?
It's been amazing, yeah. My mom wakes up early chuffs me everywhere after school.
Yeah.
Cancels her own plans. And she's always traveled with me for dancing and everything.
Wow.
It's been amazing. Yeah.
But I do see your mom busting a move as well. The one
Oh,
movie.
no, she does.
I kind of figured
yeah.
that much. Well, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having
And I hope everybody at Ashton is watching. And you know what? I'm sure when you get to school, they'll be like, celebrity vibe. Well, thank you very much. And I hope you all the best for your future endeavors. And yeah, man, it's been a great one.
Thank you so much.
Well, folks, you saw me trying to bust a move here. Samantha Southwood, our very local dance talent. She is amazing. And just wanted to find out, we actually have our weekly draw winner for our August competition this evening. And here's Megan to tell us all about it if you not have entered already, but after the ad break.
A new month, new opportunities, and that is exactly what we are offering on GMNC during the month of August. Get your business noticed by entering our competition to win a free interview on GMNC, putting your brand into the face of thousands of potential customers. Remember, people buy from people. WhatsApp your name, company name, and social media links to 066 232 1385, and you could be this fortunate recipient of this incredible opportunity. A winner per week will be announced live on our Friday shows starting the 6th of August, and a winner each Friday for the remainder of the month.
Welcome back to GMNC, and my name is Sixolile Mboza, and I'm your host for today. I'm actually laughing about this because we have a legend here, and today is International Photographers Day. And did you know that though?
Yeah, I did. I was informed about it yesterday by Mandy.
She informed me too. That's
Good.
how efficient she is.
I did know about it.
So I hear you've taken a picture of most people here in Ballito, but my grievance is, why not me?
Are you on the list?
Oh,
Believe me,
yeah.
no, you really are.
You're saving the best for last, eh?
Undoubtedly, yeah.
100%. So tell us more about yourself for those who don't know who you are.
Who don't know who I am? Okay, I was kind of born into photography. My father, before I was born, was an advanced amateur photographer.
Okay.
And had his own darkroom wherever we went. And,
Wow.
and I was very fortunate to spend hundreds of hours with him in the darkroom and built up this love of photography.
100%.
And obviously that was in the analog era before digital.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
yeah, so it was hard work.
I'm
and
sure.
it was scary work too. I was commissioned to do my first wedding at the age of 16.
Oh.
My mom gave me my first camera at age 13, which was a box Brownie Kodak.
Yeah.
And then for my 16th birthday, I got a Canon Junior camera. And yeah, it's a love that my father taught me. It's a passion And I know passion is a word that is often overused, but for the lack of no other word, I have an incredible passion that has been built up over the years. And yeah, the rest is history. We started off professionally about 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And Ballito is a nice pond of fantastic people and
Barry,
characters like you can't believe.
I've seen your social media. It is fantastic. The pictures you take.
But you're not on there though.
I will be. It's very soon.
Good.
Keep watch. And it's so fantastic. I saw you do different types of photography, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we do predominantly wedding photography. Unfortunately, COVID closed that down a bit. The lockdown did. We do newborn, family photography, corporate photography is very big in our industry.
Okay.
Before COVID, we had 4 editors and 3 photographers, but we've had to scale that down a lot. And in the interim quiet periods after the initial lockdown, I took to teaching photography, which kept me busy.
Okay.
And when I'm reading photography. I have such a passion for it, and I drive my wife mad because if we have to drive from A to B, I have to stop 10 times every time I see something.
Yeah.
So you tend, as photographers, you tend to see the world through the lens.
Yeah,
and
true.
You're forming pictures the whole time. Wow. So yeah, and then about a year ago, I was walking along the beach, and I don't know if you know Barry with a long beard. He spends most of his time under the boardwalk.
Oh yes, I've heard of him. Yes.
So I took a photograph of him, and I called it "Character Faces of the Dolphin Coast," and it was such a wonderful response from the community.
Yeah.
So much so that the Ballito Restaurant Association got together and they gave him a voucher for Spa for a year's worth of food.
Wow.
So hats off to them. And then I started doing more of the characters that I photographed over the years, with a little bio underneath.
Wow.
And it's taken off. We're in number 30. You're going to be 50. The very last one. I'm going to get to about 50.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm going to do a book on characters of the dolphin.
You
coast.
should.
Yeah.
And your work is phenomenal. I've seen
Thank
the
you.
quality of the pictures. It's so fantastic how you are able to tell a story using your lens. And I think it's the most incredible thing ever. And
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you actually came through and to tell us more about your company. But then if anyone wants to hire you, or if a person wants to hire you, can you tell us more about your socials, where we can get maybe
Sure,
your
you need
office?
to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. No, I'm just kidding. We're obviously on Facebook, Instagram. We have a website. I don't know if you want me to give it to you now.
Of course.
The website's www.bowditch.co.za.
Yeah.
And on Instagram is Bowditch_photography. And Facebook, a personal page, and a business page as well.
100%. So since you learned photography from your father, right, would you expect that any of your kids to actually take up, or are they taking it up?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. We have 4 daughters, and my daughter number 2 is a child photographer. Unfortunately, they all live overseas, but she is brilliant at newborn and children photography. She's a great photographer. So it has gone from granddad to dad to daughter.
To daughter now.
Nice, yeah.
That's fantastic.
But the digital era is much, much harder than the old analog days.
Is it?
Yeah, in the analog days, people knew that you could do a couple of things in the darkroom. There were a few tricks that you could do.
Yeah.
But keeping up with technology in the digital era is...
Wow.
And everybody knows you can get rid of a double chin and you get some of my wrinkles out of the picture and that type of thing. So
100%.
it does make it a lot harder.
Yeah.
We spend about 40 hours editing a wedding, so we edit.
About 40 hours?
Yeah. That's your wedding from basic hair and makeup in the morning to tossing the garter at night, a full wedding.
So I heard something about you that you have a yellow you have a yellow beetle.
Oh, yes.
So tell us more about that.
Myrtle. Yeah, her name's Myrtle. She'll bite you if you don't call her by the right name.
Okay, Myrtle.
Myrtle's more famous than I am, I promise you.
Seriously?
Yesterday I was driving in Flonga Rocks and I just heard somebody shout, Myrtle! I don't know who it was. But
so people see the car before they see you.
Yeah.
So hence Myrtle is very popular.
She's very famous in this area, and I grew up with beetles. Our family had beetles, and my first cars were beetles as well.
Yes.
And they're iconic cars. They're cars you drive, unlike today's cars that drive you virtually.
That's true, that's true.
And if you've got a pocket knife in your pocket and your car breaks down, you can fix it.
So what other like things that you like to do besides photography? Like, what are your hobbies?
Photography.
I kind of figured you said that. So it's photography. You eat, sleep, and breathe photography.
And drink photography. I tend to try and keep up with what's going on in the world by audio streaming radio programs at night with the earphone in the ear and listening to overseas stations and some local ones as well.
Wow.
Besides, I'm not completely in the dark as to
what's going on. So would you actually be in a position to one day maybe teach some kids, some photography?
I'm doing that. Yeah.
Are you doing that already? Also, tell us more about that.
Well, our lessons we try and keep as small as possible because I like to give individual lessons, and also people start at different levels.
That's true.
In the industry. So we try and restrict it to about 3 students at a time, and every Wednesday I do photography lessons.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so we do them for about 2 hours, and depending how quickly the person advances, this can carry on for a few weeks or a few months in some cases.
So before we actually go, can you just give advice to those young photographers out there who are like, you know what, I want to do it, but, or I'm thinking about doing it. What words of encouragement?
So we're all born with a passion, every one of us. They're all born with a talent. Let me rephrase it. There are things that some people are pianists, other people are artists, sculptors.
Yeah.
Photography, you're kind of born with it. But if you've got a love for it, my advice is to pursue it and put your heart and soul into it. And we're very lucky to live with YouTube today, so you can learn. I had to do diplomas in photography and I had to study, and so the youngsters today can learn a lot from off the internet, and just pursue your passion, build a love for it. You will meet wonderful people. It's one of those industries where you're meeting different people every time. Wow. And we've done a gazillion weddings. Every bride is different. Their families are different. And so yes, pursue it, learn, study, get to know your camera from back to front, and I just go for it.
Well, thank you very much, Ferry. I'm so glad that I actually met you, because I just felt like I was the only one who hasn't met you.
Are you looking forward to your photo shoot?
I am. Good. So you heard him, number 50 pictures. Everybody heard. Thank you very much for coming.
You're very
welcome. After the break, we're going to be speaking to one of my favorite guys, Warren Loader, and we're going to be talking about the Search for Champions mission. Up next.
By Ballito Gas en Braai fokus ons op ons kliënte. Vriendelike en doeltreffende diens is wat ons anders maak. Ons werk as 'n span met integriteit en deursigtigheid. Hier bied ons kliënte 'n onvergeetlike ervaring en werk ons met die beste belang van ons kliënt. Ons lewer nie net produkte aan ons kliënte nie, ons lewer ook 'n volledige diens, insluitend onderdele en tegniese ondersteuning.
Ballito. I'm Tanya. I'm the lady from So It Seems, Vanina in Ballito. You can find us in Richard Park, right across from the Hirsch. The new shop. It's 3 times bigger than the old shop. We have lots more fabric, a lot more haberdashery items. If you can't sew, I will teach you how to sew. I have an additional teacher that helps us sew, and we have a fabulous space upstairs. Looking for a banana machine or a bonnet? I will sort you out with that one. In this little area, we do everything. We service the sewing machine, we service the overlocker. We fix it up for you. Within a week, you'll have it back. While you go through the pattern books, we have a coffee shop in-house called Buttonless Coffee. You can have a coffee or a snack to eat while you do your pattern searching, fabric searching, or sewing upstairs with us. See you soon!
Welcome back to GMNC, and as promised, we have Warren Loader from Thoughts of a Middle-Aged Man blog. Hello, Warren.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fantastic, and yourself?
Good, thank you.
Listen, I can't wait to talk about this one. It's so interesting. And I know that from a lot of your stories, the ones that you've been actually talking about is stories that you've written before. But this one has got a new twist because it is a new adventure that you actually went on last weekend.
Yes, yeah, last weekend, Friday.
100%.
No, Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the search for Champions Mission.
Yeah, well, it's a story that hasn't been written yet. So, yeah, I've got a good friend called Brandon, and he messaged me and he said, I've got a story.
Okay.
I knew nothing about it, absolutely nothing. I said, well, send me some information and let's take a little look into and see if we can come up with anything.
Yeah.
And he said, well, how about Saturday, are you free? So I said, yeah, sure, I'm free. And he said, well, I've kind of like figured out where it is on the map. We found another map point, and I looked in the GPS, and I thought, yeah, this looks more or less where it is. So I dropped a pin on the position. And Saturday morning, he picked us up. Taylor Landon came with us.
Of course.
And as always, yeah.
As always, they never left.
And we basically drove to the pin drop, and we stopped, we got out, we looked around, and didn't really find anything.
Okay.
Drove a bit further down the road, and as we came around the corner, I said, I'm sure that's the spot there.
Yeah.
And he said, no, that's just an old house. I said, no, just behind it. And in the bushes, that's where the memorial was. Because in the book that we read, there was a memorial that had been there for many, many years, and we thought that had been gone for a long time.
Of course, yeah.
So we managed to find the memorial.
Wow.
But the main thing was to actually find the grave.
Yeah.
Now, what the story goes is that John Champion and his wife were the first American missionaries to come to South Africa and to set up a camp in Zululand.
Okay.
And they did this in 1836.
All right.
They came up to Natal, they went to Dingaan, and he gave them a piece of land.
Wow.
And they basically went to that spot, dug around, put up a little house, extended it into classrooms, and stayed there for 2 years.
Wow.
And he was the first person to actually take Zulu and put it into a written form. He actually converted the whole of the Bible into Zulu, which I don't think anybody, well, there's hardly any people that know about that.
No.
And his wife, Susanna, was actually the first white woman to live in Zululand.
Zululand, yeah.
And probably the first white woman to have a baby in Zululand.
Yeah.
And the story that we were trying to put together was that she had a child, and then in childbirth in Zululand, she had actually, her second child had died. And when, just before Dingaan went and attacked the Voortrekkers, he sent a message to them to say, listen, it's time to get out of Zululand, go back to Natal and nothing will happen to you. And the night before they left, she sat by the child's grave the whole night and said, this is the last time I'm going to see you. And the next day they left, and after that the Zulus came in and burnt down the whole missionary station. So our mission was to actually find the grave. And I think we found it. We kind of like found a mound that didn't look like it was supposed to be there. And it's the only thing around in the area, and it sort of fits the right place for where it should be. So yeah, that was another tick in the old book, really.
Wow, it's such an interesting story. And just to understand the whole concept with you and your stories is that all those places are close to Ballito.
Yes.
So Ballito is actually one of the historic landmarks, because if these places are close by, it means that Ballito is a very important place.
Definitely.
Yeah.
When I first got to Ballito, I thought there was nothing of historical value here. And the more you read stories and the more you hear about stories from people, the more you realize that there was life before us. Ballito area goes back to the late 1840s. And if you take that further back, it goes back to Zulu times, to prehistoric times. I mean, just down the road there's the Sudoku caves. And I mean, they're digging up there, they're going back 76,000 years. So we had human-like people living in this area more than 70,000 years ago. So what's next? Because I get now excited every time you come up with one story, and then the following week it's something else that is hardcore. So what's next now? I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
You know what? I feel like you're going to find a map somewhere, somehow, and it's going to lead you straight to it. And because you always go with your kids, how's the experience for them? I'm sure they get excited, they're learning something, and
it's not only about history for them, because I know for a lot of kids they go, oh, history, how boring. But it's to get out there, to get out of the town,
even
get
their
away.
comfort zone. I
mean, afterwards we stopped off, we found a quarry, and it overlooked Mandini, and we were trying to find a couple of places from the Battle of Nondasuka, which happened between Quechua and his brother. And so we found a quarry that overlooked the area, and we stopped there, and the boys got out and they said, hey Dad, look, we found a bullet. I said, well, go and look here. And they found more bullets, and they were bringing back R1 bullets and R4 bullets, and I'm saying, where are you finding these things? There were bones in the felt that they found, and just lots of things just for them to just get out and explore and actually broaden their minds and let them start thinking of things out the box. And I think that's very important in this day and age, where they come home, they sit down, they watch TV, or they come home, they're on their phone.
Games,
just to get out and just explore and find those little things like ants' nest and birds' nests and things like that you're not seeing every single day. And things that you can ask questions, and they can come back and say, Dad, what is this? And if we don't know what it is, we can Google it quickly, which is a good thing.
100%. And there's nothing more important than nature, eh?
No, definitely. And fresh air.
And fresh air.
And it was fresh. It was fresh on Saturday.
It was cold on Saturday, was it? So, well, thank you very much, Warren, for coming through. I know I love your stories, and every time I look forward to them every Thursday. I'm like, I'm going to hear something very historical, because I'm one of those people that, I love history, but I'm very lazy to go and check. So you actually do the work for us and get us the proper information that we need. So thank you very much.
That's a pleasure.
We'll definitely see each other next week.
Okay.
Well, folks, there you have it. Warren Loader. We're talking about the Search for Champions mission, and he's going to be writing it on his blog, so you're going to get it very, very soon. So after the break, we're going to be talking to a whole CEO, guys, a whole CEO. Cobus Oelofse from Ilembe Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Tourism. More after this.
At 1018 Skryfproefdes Ballito, we offer an array of convenience services for our clients. With an in-store, fully operational business center, all under one roof. 1018 Skryfproefdes Ballito is fully stocked with all your leading stationery brands. Proudly Ballito for Ballito.
Welcome back, and as promised, we have Cobus, who is a CEO of Ilembe Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Tourism. He's going to be discussing with us the Business Confidence Index for the first half of 2021. Cobus, hello, welcome.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. You keeping well?
100%. As you can see, you know, I'm in a vibe. I'm in a vibe. So tell us more about what we're going to be talking about today.
I must say, considering your previous interviews, I feel a bit like the Grinch set on no, spoiling the mood.
Never.
We released the Business Confidence Index, the Ilembe Business Confidence Index, the IBCI, yesterday.
Okay.
And yeah, I wish it was a rosier picture.
Okay.
But maybe just a bit of background to,
okay, please,
to the IBCI.
So that we can understand it more, yeah.
We started the measuring business confidence in the Ilembe district about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a partnership that we've got with Enterprise Ilembe, who's the local economic development agency of our district.
Okay.
And we just recognize that the relevance of being able to measure how the sentiment of business people and how that influences their decisions about investment, reinvestment, development and economic development in our area.
Of course.
It's an exceptionally important indicator to have from managing our local economy.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
So we partnered with Enterprise Ilembe. It's a hybrid index.
Okay.
So we look at and we're getting into the technical stuff that might be a bit boring, but it's actually quite exciting.
Yeah.
It's just that we're looking at two components.
Okay.
So we're looking at business sentiment. So those are expressed through a survey where we interview business people and ask them about how do they feel about the business environment at the moment, and also a forecast for the next 6 months.
Okay.
But we balance that with some economic indicators as well,
of
real
course.
Economic indicators that are relevant to the economy of our district. And some of those indicators, we've got 8 of those, are things like the dollar price of sugar, number of tourists, the number of business loans that have been granted, etc., etc. So those are the real economic indicators. So we balance that against the sentiment, and then we also look at what are the business constraints in our local area, what are the concerns that people have got in terms of that is holding the economy back, and then we combine all of that with a company called EconDAO that is also responsible for the South African Chamber of Commerce's Business Confidence Index, and we publish an index.
Okay. And I'm sure now with COVID,
Yeah.
and the looting that happened,
Yeah.
It might not be looking so great.
No, it's not. And that's, it's not a rosy picture.
Yeah, but we need to know at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the sentiment was the lowest that we've ever recorded it.
I'm
so
sure.
just to give you an indication, this is that the neutral point is 50.
Okay.
So these are not percentages, just think of it as index points.
Okay.
So neutral is 50, neither positive, neither negative, and we're sitting on 30 for the sentiment.
Okay.
And unfortunately, obviously COVID,
Yeah.
and especially ramping up to level 4, and little consequences of that, for example, the postponement of the Ballito Pro,
Yeah.
the Comrades, for example, being cancelled, etc., the July, those impacted heavily. And
I'm
then
sure.
what unfortunately happened then as well was the KZN unrest. So it was a perfect storm with those two components. And as you can imagine, in terms of sectors, you know, tourism remains, they're sitting on 19 points. So, you know, there are businesses that are desperately trying to make ends meet out there, especially operating within the tourism industry.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, the second most pessimistic industry was the arts and culture and performing arts. And as you can imagine, with how that's been impacted on,
It
you know,
has.
shows
Huge.
and, you know, all of those being cancelled, you know, that's also a very, very pessimistic industry. The most confident sector was property development.
Yeah.
Although still in the negative,
Yeah.
you know, below 50 points.
Yeah.
But the most confident of all the sectors. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. Probably the one is relative to the other sectors.
Of course.
You know, they're probably a bit more confident.
Yeah.
And then I also think the way, especially if you compare to the metro, the way the KZN unrest unfolded.
Yeah.
And the fact that we relatively got away quite unscathed.
Yeah,
the
true.
impact was not significant. And as a result of it, both from a residential as well as a commercial property inquiry point of view, there's a lot of interest all of a sudden in the North Coast.
And I also wanted us to actually talk about solutions, you know, and I know that you guys work very hard to get these debts and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's things that can be done that you guys are working on, or what we can work on as communities and organizations, as businesses. And, you know, you can just touch on that as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think, you know, it was a bit of a wake-up call, the KZN unrest, in terms of our dependency on public services and how they failed us.
Yeah.
So for me, I think from a solution point of view, the immediate responses, the 3 R's for me, is the first one is that resolute political leadership to provide reassurance to the business community.
Of course.
But not only existing communities, but also people that are planning to invest in the province and our district. So that reassurance is very, very important. The second one is relief.
Yeah.
We're dragging our heels on supporting the businesses that were significantly impacted on and affected, especially in the KwaZulu-Natal area and then into Isitebe, and then some of our rural communities. So reassurance, relief, and then the one that keeps on sitting in the background is the rollout of the vaccine. We need to speed that up and convince people to get vaccinated so that we can open up our economy, especially our tourism economy.
Especially the tourism, Wow, I love that. But in closing, what can you tell us in overall to what your findings or the solutions, and maybe give us a bright spark that, you know what, we are going to see some improvement in the near future?
I think one of the things that we measure as well are the expectations over the next 6 months.
Of
and
course.
Obviously that is still in the negative, but it looks much, much better than the actual sentiment at the moment.
Yeah.
I think there's some external factors and macro factors, for example, around the manufacturing and assembly economy.
Yeah.
the problems that we've got in the harbour, etc., that is really, really impacting on that industry, and we need to address it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can only, influence, try and lobby, try and advocate, but those are issues that are managed at national level. The agriculture, also relatively positive.
Yeah.
With the sugar prices and where they're sitting, we've got a few issues in that industry. We've actually got a meeting next week with the Sugar Association around crop damage by communities that are disgruntled. And it's also about how do we engage with those communities. So very, very similar to what we've done through the KZN unrest, is engaging with community and community cohesion, making people realize that the economy, when you're disgruntled, shouldn't be a target. You should protect it as an asset.
Yes, I like that.
And there's a lot of work that us as a business community, and especially the chamber that represents business, can do and needs to do about that.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I also think that, just to add on to what you're saying, I think it's also important that one of the lessons that we learned in a hardcore way is that we should also invest into producing locally. Once we produce locally, I think that's going to affect us in a very better way, as opposed to actually, whilst we cannot get our stuff from the harbor, what are we going to do? Everybody's like, oh, what are we going to do? But if we learn to produce locally, I think that will actually even cut in costs of import-export, kind of situation. Yeah. I know a little bit of something.
Very good.
But I know that we actually are out of time, but I know I'm going to try and get you here more so that we can discuss stuff like that, because I think that it's important for people in Ballito to know what they are actually having within their community. Organizations and community and businesses know that how they can handle situations, and that. And I think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, always.
Very much so.
100%.
Very much so. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you very much. That was Cobus here talking to us about things that really matter. After this, we're going to be having our weather and surf report with Heili and Deon. After this.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your weather for today, brought to you by Ballito Gas and Brine. Today is mostly cloudy with some rain in the afternoon, and for some people, weather like this is great, and then you get people like me. We cannot function in this weather. Dis amper te koud om te wil mooi maak, en dit gesê, Cindy, wil ek vir jou baie dankie sê vir my lashes. So my rainy days is nie meer so dramaties soos wat ek dit nou laat klink nie. We have a high of 21 degrees and a low of 15 degrees. The real feel will be 21 degrees as well, and the real feel shade 20 degrees. We have a southerly wind at 13 kilometers per hour and wind gusts at 24 kilometers per hour. Also, we have a 63% chance of showers. The sunrise will be at 6:25 a.m. and the sunset at 5:34 p.m. Next up will be your surf report, brought to you by 1018 Skryfbehoeftes in Ballito and Deon Bosman from Victory Surf. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, Ballito, and welcome to Thursday morning's beach report. And we've got a pretty similar day to yesterday, with light offshore breezes from 8 o'clock to about 11 o'clock this morning. So really good surf on the incoming tide, and lots and lots of swell around. So a solid 4 or 5 feet at most of the beaches, and great conditions for the morning. I think it's a better idea to get in before lunchtime, because with the incoming tide, you're going to get some really good peaks at the main beaches. This afternoon is going to get a little bit windy, and it might just create a bit of a cross-shore chop. So a lot of wind expected later this afternoon, and a bit of rain later. So try get in the water, as I said this morning. It's going to be really good at your favorite beach. Solid swell, have fun, and we'll chat again tomorrow.
Welcome back, and I just want to say a big thank you to our guests. We had a very interesting show. I loved it, and thank you to you viewers for actually watching. And also like to say a special thank you to Zinga Africa for dressing me for GMNC. As you can see, looking gorgeous every day. And we're about to close off with a music video from ZAAD, but do not forget, after the GMNC, you can actually watch Laugh Out Larry after the show. But for me, I'm out.
When I saw your face in the crowd, I knew you were meant to be mine. Thought of you all the time. Didn't know what to make of it all. Didn't have the guts to tell you this. I let someone else take you away. I know I'm everything that you need. Can't you just hear me out? All I want is you to love me one more time. Do it again now. All I want is you to love me one more time. Don't be afraid now. For you to stay in my arms forever. Remember our first kiss, the day I won't forget. Every day was brighter. Now I can turn back time to try to make you mine. I'm stuck here trying to find you. Don't have the guts to tell you this. I let someone else take you away. I know I'm everything that you need. Can't you just hear me out? All I want is you to love me one more time. Do it again now. All I want is you to love me one more time. Don't be afraid now. For you to stay in my arms forever. For you to stay in my arms forever. I know I'm everything that you need. Can't you just hear me